Well, here we are, the end of an era. This is the 2022 Nissan GT-R T-spec, the final iteration of the R35 generation GT-R. And, well, sadly the last one that we will see for quite some time until an all-new car is revealed. What's it like? Well, we'll walk around it in a second. But for now, let's hit the track. Now, while I get my helmet hair ready, let's run through the numbers. Priced from $256,700 before on-road costs, the R35 GT-R T-spec runs the same engine as other non-Nismo models in the GT-R range. Output of 419 kilowatts and 632 newton meters comes from the VR38 DETT, a 3.8-litre twin-turbo V6. The transmission, a 6-speed dual clutch, sends power to all four wheels via a rear-mounted transfer case that can split drive up to 50% front and rear. Now, being a track test, and the fact that the GT-R is a naturally thirsty vehicle, fuel consumption is largely irrelevant, and that's all part of the fun. I've got to tell you, there's something quite fun about approaching an empty race circuit in a GT-R, and this is the all-new R35 GT-R T-spec. Now, as to what the T stands for, well, there's a little bit of question on whether it means track spec, or whether it means trophy spec, or whether it even means terminal spec, because this is it. This is the last of the GT-Rs in its current configuration. And so what Nissan have done is thrown all of their available parts bins to it so that this car is as most GT-R as you could possibly get without going full house and getting a Nismo. Now, as you can tell, that 3.8-litre twin turbo, it is still plenty powerful. We are deep into the twos coming up here on the back straight of Sandown. On the anchors, coming through. Now, what this is, right, it is a perfectly engineered PlayStation. Where the GT-R, when it came out initially, the R32 GT-R in 1989, and the subsequent RB generation cars, the 33 and 34, you had the Atessa ETS all-wheel drive system, which was one of the very first torque split systems on the market. And you found that it rewarded bravery. If you needed pull from your front wheels, you needed to have the car slip at the rear first. And as such, you needed to keep your foot in. Whereas now, we have a variable torque split control in this car, and it is doing all of the work itself. And it is so accurate through here that even in my rather ginger hands, it is a tremendously fast and capable machine, but it rewards you. So even though we are pushing this thing relatively quickly for a Monday morning, the car's got my back. And the fact that I can even talk to you while still doing 230, 40 kilometers an hour here shows just how capable this thing is. Now, one of the biggest things that we've got in this car, the Nismo brakes, they're the carbon ceramic composite brakes off the GT-R Nismo, is the main difference that the T-spec gets. We've got this cool green interior, you've got some unique colors, we've got unique wheels, but fundamentally this is the same as the regular GT-R. It is just limited edition. And limited is the key word here because, well, basically they've all sold. If you can find one, get one, because this is it. There we go. Now, I remember I used to have an R33 GT-R. I put a bit of work in that thing, and there was no way it was this quick around Sandown. And this car is, well, I want to say it's showroom fresh. It's brand new, right? It's not even showroom fresh. It is absolutely brand spanking new. And a little bit of a wiggle there under brakes as we tick through here. Now, I am not really pushing this car. I think I want to be very clear here. I'm not coming to you saying that I am your next Schumacher in terms of behind the seat capability, but I tell you what, this thing is really, really fun.
The fun thing about a GT-R is that as you start to pile on the laps, you become more familiar with the car and start to explore its performance even more. Corner entry speeds increase and your willingness to get back on the throttle comes in earlier. You still need to be mindful that this is a 419 kilowatt beast and that it will still err towards oversteer if you are particularly ambitious. Here though, the Atessa all-wheel drive torque split will come in to assist. It can put up to 50% of the car's power to the front wheels when needed, meaning that you are still very much a crucial part of the car's performance. While it's not as analog or emotional as some cars, the GT-R still has everything it needs to put a big smile on your face.
One of the things that you can find here, beyond that all-wheel drive torque split, the steering is just so accurate. Like, I'm on the brakes, I tip it in, the car goes. You can feel it starting to move around back on the power a little bit early, like here. And it just winds on. And that traction control light is flickering ever so gently out of those corners. What this will bring in a subsequent generation, well, we don't really know. We imagine there'll be some hybrid powertrain in there. We imagine there'll be some pretty clever tech. I'm going to slow it down a little bit now. And that it will be even faster and more capable as every generation before this car has been. It sounds good too. There's a titanium exhaust at the back there, popping and crackling through. Now I've got a hair hat on and I've got the helmet on, so my hearing is somewhat deadened to what it is, and I can still hear it sharply crackling through there. And it's a lovely noise. And these things never particularly sounded great when they came out. They sounded like a very, very impressive Dyson, but this has got all the right noises where you want them. But what I'll do, I'll pull it into the pits now, and I'll give you a bit of a walk around because there are some pretty cool features and pretty cool final dress-up points to this car, least of all the green interior, which I don't know if you can see through the camera, but it is pretty cool, and it's definitely something a little bit different. Oh, I'll tell you what, that is fun. What a car. The car for the PlayStation generation is still absolutely and every day a proper PlayStation. Well, I've got to say, that's one hell of a way to wake up in the morning. But track driving aside, what makes the T-spec difference? Well, for a start, this colour might look familiar to you, as it should. This is Millennium Jade, and it's one of the special colours that's available on the T-spec. This debuted on the 2000 Nissan Skyline, back when it was R35 GT-R M-spec NER edition. And I'll tell you what, it looks just as good here as it did then. Now, the T-spec gets this carbon fibre rear despoiler that comes from the track edition and was part of the Nismo engineering that went into this car. Nismo has also lent this car the carbon ceramic brakes, 410mm front, 390mm rear, that come from the GT-R Nismo. These wheels are raised forged alloy wheels unique to the T-spec, and they are wider than on the standard car, 10 inches at the front, which means this gets the wider guards from the track edition. So it's a bit of a parts bin, it's a bit of a bitzer, but it basically makes this the pinnacle of regular GT-Rs without stepping up to the Nismo. Now, before we jump inside, let's take one last look at the heart of the beast. This is the VR38 DETT, which means it's a VR series 3.8 litre double overhead cam electronic fuel injection twin turbo V6. Now, this engine with 419 kilowatts, they are hand built, and pre-COVID there were 5 artisans in Japan who would build these things. We're not sure how many there are now, but it tells you that this one here was built by Oyama-san. Now, one of the coolest parts of the T-spec is this green interior. And when I say it to you and you think about it, it may not work, but in the car, yeah, it does. It really kind of suits it, to be honest. And the way that they have treated the interior of the final generation of the GT-R, it's kind of moved up a little bit in market. You've got Alcantara upper dash here, you've got an Alcantara quilted headliner here, leather lower dash, lots of nice stitching, lots of carbon fibre everywhere, and the seats are, well as being green, are tremendously comfortable. but there are still some elements that remind you that this is the longest serving GT-R generation. The car was released in 2007, came to Australia in 2009. That means it's been in market here for counting 12 years. When you consider that R32, 33 and 34 basically ran 4 years a pop, well, that's not bad. And there are still some switches around here that, well, they certainly date back to that early 2000s Nissan switchgear that made me feel that it is time for an all-new car. It doesn't date this thing though, and it still makes it something special. So I guess the key is now you've seen it on track, you've heard me talk about it, you love the green seats, you want to buy one, well, good luck. There were only 50 of these and the special edition Nismo that were brought into the country this year, and thanks to new ADR requirements, the car cannot be complied any further, so no more are actually coming to Australia. So if you want one, you've got to find one, and if you can find one, I suggest you buy one. Well, we hope you enjoyed this clip. Hit the bell icon and the subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our latest videos. If you've got any questions about the Nissan GT-R T-spec, hit us up in the comments below or head on over to Drive.com.au for all the details.